talk about this, and we talk about the internationalization of the RMB. It continues, doesn't it? And now we've even got London possibly in the frame, and we could have an announcement according to some newspaper reports.
Yes. So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, probably one of the most important things in global financial market is the renminbi's role will just increase. And very likely...
It's got to, hasn't it, essentially?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And actually one thing very important is this about global reserve currency system. So Chinese yuan could be convertible, and then can be used by many other central banks as their reserve currencies.
Well, effectively it has to become flexible, doesn't it? Because you're just using it still as a proxy, albeit one which is appreciating at a tiny amount against the dollar.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of things Chinese government need to do to achieve that status. First, they need to liberalize capital accounts. It's still controlled in China, so they need to allow more free capital flow between China and other countries. And also they need a lot of offshore centers of foreigners to hold yuan and to use that. So this offshore circulation of renminbi, that's also things they are doing, push Hong Kong, maybe Singapore, London, New York.
So tell me, what's stopping them really on the path to greater convertibility?
Oh, there's two very important things. One is interest liberalization. So in China, the domestic financial system is pretty closed. Even interest rates has been regulated by the central bank. So that thing need to change. Second thing is about exchange rate system. You need to have a floating system before China can achieve convertibility and also a reserve currency status.
Well, the problem is as well with the capital transfers, we could have the Chinese economy overheat because with the way they're able to manage things now, they can sterilize that money, can't they?
Yeah, that's actually a dilemma. If you want to free capital account, then you cannot control free flow of capital. Then domestic monetary tool need to be independent and need to be oriented towards domestic targets. But the tool here, interest rates, most important thing, it has been regulated. So it's not market driven. That's all the dilemmas. Everything is linked. So in order to...
So there must be a fight going on in the Ministry of Finance and in the People's Bank of China as well.
Yeah, many more. The banks that they are not willing to have this liberalization because now they have guaranteed interest margin. Right? With this liberalization, their profit margin can be squeezed. And there are many other things, like a state-owned company, they want to enjoy low interest rate. They don't want to have high interest rates. So a lot of interest groups fighting against that. So, but I think it's very clear, the global situation, we know that the US dollar is depreciating. Now the euro...
Well, that's the point, isn't it? It's against this backdrop of anemic growth in the US, uncertainties with what happens next with Europe and its sovereign debt crisis. That's all pushing China to do something more definitive with the RMB.
Exactly. So China has 3.3 trillion in reserve, mostly in dollar and euro, and now they are very worried what will happen to these currencies if the government debt situation cannot improve. So, but there's no solution for China if they keep the yuan pegged and closed. So the only solution is for renminbi to be a global currency, to be a reserve currency. So there's no need for them to accumulate dollar and euro in future.
But it's got to be convertible. It's got to be flexible if they're going to do that. Exactly. And fully convertible, of course.
Yes, I think they are already are doing towards this direction. We know that regarding renminbi circulation in Hong Kong, that opened many doors, and now they are going to London and Singapore. And also regarding capital account control, Chinese government is now allowing firms to do FDI in renminbi and also freely. And then we see this mini QFII, retail investors on China can invest abroad, and also through ETF and the Chinese investors. Yeah, lots of things.
Well, how does it play out though? When do we get, greater flexibility? And in fact, do we necessarily see more appreciation if we get it?
Yeah, I think for a short time, definitely, with the global turmoil, renminbi is a currency of stability. Definitely, if it's allowed to be floating, it will appreciate. It's actually the why Chinese government cannot do it dramatically, because they don't want things change too fast, and then it will destabilize the economy if Chinese company cannot cope with sudden appreciation.